Hello everyone, very good afternoon. We will continue with the science and technology topic, and as I have started the last class, nuclear science and technology. So previous class I have discussed about nuclear reactions, that is nuclear fission and nuclear fusion, thermonuclear reaction, and in that context I have told that there is one type of reactor called tokamak reactor. Tokamak reactor is a reactor which confine hot plasma, very high temperature plasma, and it creates a very high temperature which is same as the star or sun. And I have given you the reference of three aspect from current aspect where the question can be asked in the exam. One is the China has recently developed HL2M, that is a tokamak reactor, and it has created the highest temperature on the earth within that reactor vessel HL2M, and it has been called artificial sun, right? That is one current aspect. Second is that ITER, International Thermonuclear Experimental Reactor, where India is also one of the partner members into that commercial production of power or electricity using hydrogen-based fusion reaction. And that particular construction of the tokamak reactor is taking place in Cadarache, that is in south of France. And third aspect, I have told you that in 80s, India also has a plasma research. Right, we have a very good foundation in nuclear technology, nuclear science and technology, and particularly from the research point of view. So there is an institute under DAE, Department of Atomic Energy, that is called Institute for Plasma Research, IPR, Gandhinagar in Gujarat. And there we have a Aditya tokamak reactor. What is the name of the reactor? Aditya tokamak reactor. So these are three important aspects regarding fusion, right? What I discussed last class there. Then I went into nuclear reactor. I discussed the nuclear reactor technology. That means how the power is generated using the nuclear reactor. And in that context, I have discussed about fuel, then coolant, moderator, and then controller rods. And then I have also mentioned about the two types of reactors called BWR, boiling water reactors, and another one is pressurized water reactor. In that context, PHWR, pressurized heavy water reactor, where we use heavy water, deuterium oxide, both as moderator and coolant, right? But what is the primary role of moderator? The major role of moderator, like deuterium oxide, which is heavy water, is for moderation. What is moderator? A moderator slows down the fast thermal neutron. Those neutrons which are emitted after the fission reaction, which are very fast, highly energetic, they are slowed down by the moderator. So the role of heavy water primarily is a moderator. Although we can use heavy water also as a coolant along with moderator, both as a moderator and coolant, in the type of reactor called PHWR, pressurized heavy water reactor, right? So that part I have discussed in the last class, and I have already told you that today is the 7th class on science and technology. I will be going through the nuclear program of India. We have 3 stages of nuclear power program as conceptualized by founding father, Dr. Homi Jahangir Bhabha. So we'll see that what exactly the architect is that what is the architecture of this, the entire framework, or you can say blueprint of 3 stages of nuclear power program of India. We'll now discuss that. And then we'll go to other areas of applications of nuclear science and technology. Like for example, nuclear agriculture, nuclear medicine, then use of nuclear technology in industries, right? We'll be seeing those various areas, and we'll link with BARC, Bhabha Atomic Research Center, right? You all know that Bhabha Atomic Research Center as a research organization has been conducting a lot of research in terms of use of nuclear technology for socio-economic development, societal development. We'll see that, right? We are going to discuss that one. We'll be going to those kind of areas there. So as I have started a topic, and I told in the classroom that this topic is very important because this requires a good understanding from the scientific point of view, at the same time technological development point of view. And it is important for both main examination and prelims exam. The question can be asked in the prelims exam, at the same time you could get question in the mains examination as well. And UPSC has already asked questions in the prelims exam, 2011, 2012. You just look back the previous year question papers of prelims exam. At the same time, main examination, 2017, 2018, just go back and see the 18, 19 papers, you have a question from nuclear science and technology in India, right? So questions can be both way, right? And you have to always connect the fact with the current aspect, right? I've been telling every class that you have, whenever you are reading newspaper, you are reading any current aspect, you have to connect with the theory and the application part, right? So that is what I'll start with the topic there. Now let's come to a very important topic. And please write it down. Whatever I teach in the classroom on the whiteboard, please write it down. Those of you who are live right now, you should write it down. Let us discuss one very important aspect from Department of Atomic Energy and the part of the nuclear technology development in India. What I'm now coming here, that is called as a nuclear fuel cycle. Nuclear fuel cycle. Nuclear fuel cycle. Any country which is which has a technology in nuclear technology, right? Which has a foundation in nuclear research and development, and they're using nuclear technology for various applications. They need to complete this nuclear fuel cycle. Is a very, very important part, right? And the topic which I'm teaching you in the classroom is a strategic area. So when you have a IR class, international relations class, when you discuss the national security topic, you can connect the nuclear technology because the geopolitical situation, India, Pakistan, or India, China, and worldwide relation, right? So they're also from IR, international relations, right? You'll be coming across development in nuclear arms, weapons worldwide. I, being a teacher of science and technology, will bring in the classroom the technological aspect of that, scientific aspect of that. But let's say the teacher who teach you the IR part, teacher who teach you the national security part, and there's something like, a connection to the nuclear technology. Certain keywords are there, important words, keywords are there. You have to connect with that, right? So sometimes when you read newspaper, current aspect, and you come across this word, these three terms, the nuclear fuel cycle, you must know what is a nuclear fuel cycle, right? So that when you are able to connect with that particular topic which you are reading in newspaper or current affair materials, you are able to understand what exactly is the meaning of nuclear fuel cycle, right? So what is nuclear fuel cycle? In a nutshell, I can say you that it is a sum total of all the facilities, all the establishments, right from exploration of minerals like uranium, thorium, which are used for nuclear reactions, and right up to the disposal of nuclear waste after generation of power or electricity. So all the entire, that is called a cycle. This is referred to as a cycle. So what I would like to bring here, nuclear fuel cycle here, it comprises of, it consists of various operations and related facilities. Related facilities for nuclear power program. For nuclear power program. Right? That is called as a nuclear fuel cycle. I've just given one sentence that. What do you mean by the term nuclear fuel cycle? It is basically consists of various operations and related facilities for nuclear power program, right? That is called as a fuel cycle, nuclear fuel cycle. Now let's see how it starts. First starts from the first very stage which comes here, that is a exploration. Exploration of minerals. Let's say uranium. Uranium is used for uranium-225, 235, uranium-235. So you have to first find out where you have a deposit of the uranium from the earth crust, right? Once you identify site where you have a uranium deposit, right, then you have to go for mining of the uranium ore. So what comes here? Exploration. Now, second operation comes here, mining and milling operation. mining of the ore and removing all the impurities. That is called milling, mining and milling operations. Then what comes here? When we do the mining part and take out the ore, purify the ore, we do the milling of the ore. Then comes the third step called as a enrichment. Enrichment of the ore. What do you mean by the word enrichment? Enrichment here means the uranium, natural uranium, exists in two isotopes, uranium-235 and uranium-238. Uranium-238 is more abundant. In the nature, the most abundant form of isotope of uranium is uranium-238. So let's say here, natural uranium, when we talk about natural uranium, so natural uranium, you have two isotopes, right? Uranium-238 and you have uranium-235. Which is fissionable? 235. Uranium-235 absorbs, right? When bombarded with a slow neutron, it captures neutron, becomes unstable and then disintegrates, fission into daughter nuclei and results the neutrons. Then further fast neutrons are evolved. So the fissionable material is this one. This is called here fissile. This is the fissile material there, right? Whereas this is non-fissionable. It doesn't undergo, if you take a that means if you directly use a slow neutron, uranium-238 will not undergo fission there. So non-fissile here, right? And what is the ratio here? When we talk about ratio, it is a 130, you can say 139 part to 1. If we take out the ore of uranium, only 1 out of 1/40th part will be uranium-235. So what does that meaning of enrichment? Enrichment include those kind of processes, those type of technologies which will increase the concentration of uranium-235. Because for power generation, we require fuel rod and there has to be uranium-235. So what does that here means? Enrichment means enrichment of natural uranium. We increase the concentration of the uranium-235 up to 3 to 5%, right? Here, enrichment, low enrichment. Here we use the low enrichment for power generation, right? But if we have to make a weapon, right? Now we have to, let's say, we have to make atom bomb, right? Nuclear weapon. So we can increase the percentage, right? We can have high enrichment of uranium. But for power generation, for electricity and power generation, for atomic energy program, we don't require high enriched uranium-235 because we need to control the reaction, right? There we have to control the reaction. So we prefer to use 3 to 5% low enriched uranium, right? That is where the enrichment comes here. So here low enriched uranium is used there. 3% to 5% enrichment is done, right? So after enrichment, what happens? You cannot directly use it. So there is another step called as fabrication. I'll tell you what is fabrication. Fabrication is basically you have to convert the uranium into fuel rod, right? Here in fabrication, what happens there? There's a bundle of the fuel rod is made, right? Uranium fuel rod is made using the which is packed here. We make a pellet of here, the pellet of uranium, and it is packed, right? It's packed together. Fuel rod. In a steel cylinder, you have a pellet of uranium, solid uranium, what is called yellow cake, uranium oxide, and you pack it in a layer and make one fuel rod. And then you make a bundle of fuel rod, 100, 200, depending on the design of the reactor. So this process is called fabrication, right? So here, what we do here is that we make a fuel rod assembly. That is created by using the fabrication process. Then this will go to the reactor. Now this will go to the power generation, nuclear power generation. That means this all fuel rod bundle will go to the nuclear parks with the nuclear reactor. And I have already discussed in the previous class that India has got currently 22 reactors, and we have 8 nuclear parks where we have such operational nuclear reactors there. So it will go for power generation. Now what will happen there? After the power is generated, right? What is sixth stage here? After the power generates there, it generates a spent fuel. The fuel which is spent, right? Once the fission takes place and continuous power generation happens there, right? And whatever the leftover, the last one, spent fuel. So there is a process what we call reprocessing. What is the reprocessing? So what we do here? Reprocessing of spent fuel. Here, the spent fuel, the fuel which has been spent in the reactor, right? And what we do with the reprocessing, we take it out. We separate unused uranium, right? There will be unused uranium which has not undergone fission, right? Then there will be some kind of a radioisotopes which we can use for medical application, like radio tracer, radioisotope for diagnosis purpose, for treatment of cancer, right, or a disorder. We can use such radioisotopes. At the same time, it can also generate the plutonium, because there will be fast neutron which will convert some part of the uranium-238 into plutonium. So what happens here is that here is the separation of unused uranium. Whatever the uranium has not been used up here, 235 or 238, then plutonium, there will be some amount of plutonium also formed there. Then radioisotopes, which can be used for other applications there, right? Now after we separate it out, reprocess it, whatever left over will be highly hazardous radioactive nuclear waste. After all the removal will be highly hazardous nuclear waste. So what comes here, the next one is that the process called here, which you all know, that nuclear waste management. Whatever hazardous nuclear waste is there, that has to be clearly managed and disposed. We cannot throw it outside because it will be gamma radiation, highly radioactive radiation will be there. So we cannot just simply leave it outside in the environment. So we have to properly manage all such nuclear waste generated after the completion of reactions in the nuclear reactor. So what is done here in nuclear waste management is that this spent fuel after reprocessing is stored like hazardous. There will be radiation level there, low radiation level or high radiation level. So hazardous material is stored, right, in cylinder, in sealed, so that it should not leak out. The sealed kind of a cascade or cylinder like here, boxes, and then dumped. Then what happens? It is dumped into deep geological structure, into deep geological, like under the earth, deep geological formations. Like for example, sometimes we can use impervious rocks, right? There may be sometimes under the ground, some impervious rocks, there we can bury it, right? We can do the burial of that. Or what we can do is that abandoned mines. There is a coal mine. After we have taken out the coal, the mining operation is over, those abandoned mines, there again we can dump it, right? So here deep geological formations and abandoned mines and all, we can dump it there. And whatever the unused uranium is there, again what we can do, unused uranium we can enriched, right? The unused uranium, right? Unused uranium which is recovered from the spent fuel can be again enriched, further enriched, and can be again fabricated and again can be used for power generation, right? Now what is very important, we also require moderator, right? So there will be also need of moderator here. For nuclear power generation, we require a moderator here. The moderator is the heavy water. So there is a requirement of heavy water, that is deuterium oxide, right? And heavy water has to be produced there, manufacturing has to be done. And if you remember last class, I had given you a map of India, and I've said that these are the labs and establishment of DAE, Department of Atomic Energy, and I've said the heavy water board in Mumbai, manage their number of heavy water board, which heavy water manufacturing plants are there. Today, India is one of the leading producer of heavy water in the world. So we have a manufacturing plants throughout the country, like Magnur, then Talcher, right? All these places, Hajira, we have the manufacturing plant for heavy water. So heavy water will go into where it will go to the nuclear reactor as moderator, right? So their heavy water protection. So that is the auxiliary step. Here, this is the auxiliary process there, right? Is the auxiliary process to the nuclear fuel cycle. Right? Now let's look at names of the organization which comes here in terms of the managing this one now. Exploration of minerals, right? This is done by a body called Atomic Minerals Directorate. We have Atomic Minerals Directorate, AMD, that is in Hyderabad. So this AMD is responsible for finding out where in India we have deposits of the minerals. Now mining and milling operation, that is done by Uranium Corporation of India Limited, Jaduguda. I have said in the classroom that Jaduguda is the place where India has the uranium mines there. That is in Jaduguda, is in Singhbhum district of Jharkhand. Chota Nagpur Plateau there, Jharkhand there. So mining and milling operation, right? Enrichment is also done by UCIL. Here, UCIL, Uranium Corporation of India Limited, Jaduguda in Jharkhand. The site where we do the mining of the ore and enrichment of the ore also is done on there, right? Now, fabrication we are doing with the very important body called Nuclear Fuel Complex in Hyderabad. Nuclear Fuel Complex that develop all the technology regarding the fabrication, that is in Hyderabad. These all are under DAE, right? For heavy water protection, we have a heavy water board that is in Mumbai. Heavy water board that is located in Mumbai, which manages all the manufacturing plants regarding the heavy water protection, right? Now, nuclear power generation, nuclear reactor. So you know that we have a NPCIL, Nuclear Power Corporation of India Limited, that is headquartered in Mumbai. There is the operator which operates the reactors, and we have the parks there like Trombe, Tarapur, Rawat Bhata, Narora, Kudankulam, right? Kalpakkam, Kaiga, all I've given you the names in the last class. We have mentioned that. Now reprocessing spent fuel that happens at the site there. Now this is a responsible from BARC, Bhabha Atomic Research Center, Mumbai. That is a Trombe. Even the nuclear waste management, the responsibility goes to the BARC. The Trombe Center is responsible for this nuclear waste management also there. All right. So please copy it down. And if you have any doubt, you can ask me. It's a very, very important concept which you have to know that. Whenever you come across, whenever you read any current aspect and you come across all these terms, so at least you are aware of these all words and terms here, right? And I'll tell you that so far in UPSC prelims exam or main examination, question has not been asked. Particularly in the prelims exam, anything related to nuclear fuel cycle, question has not been asked. Maybe possible that you could get question in the exam, that UPSC can ask you a question there. Kindly copy this flowchart. Kindly copy the flowchart here. Kindly copy this part of it. अच्छा, ये वो रिक्वेस्ट आ रहा है कि कैमरा को है ना पूरा फोकस करके इनको दिखाने के लिए, वो अभी मैसेज आया हुआ है कि प्रॉपर वे से इसको फोकस कर दीजिए। स्टूडेंट्स लिख रहे होंगे ना, इसलिए। दिस मटेरियल आई हैव रिटन हियर, hazardous nuclear waste material. हाँ, वो अब दिखा दिए, 2 बार कर दिए, ताकि कॉपी कर रहे हैं ना, ये कॉपी कर लेंगे। Okay, I'll explain here 4th and the 6th point here. See, I'll show you one video also there. You'll be seeing one video and the process there. But before I go to the animated video, which will give you an idea about the nuclear fuel cycle, but I'll make you understand. See, what we do is that once we identify a site, a particular site where you have a deposit of uranium, then what happens is that the Uranium Corporation of India Limited, UCIL, who is in charge of doing the mining part, will mine out the uranium. And you know that uranium from the earth crust will have other impurities. So there will be milling operation to make the pure grade uranium ore. So that is done by UCIL here. Now what happens is that the uranium ore, which consists of 2 isotopes, 238 and 235, what undergoes fission with slow neutron is the uranium 235. And for nuclear reactor and the power generation, we don't require high graded uranium, right? We don't require high enriched uranium. Where we require high enriched uranium, we require high enriched uranium for weapons program, where we have to make nuclear weapons. For electricity and power generation under the controlled environment within the reactor, we use a low enriched uranium, 3 to 5%, not more than 3 to 5%. You can say on an average 4% will be uranium 235, remaining 96% will be uranium 238 mixture. So this enrichment is done by using technology like ultra centrifugation. Sometimes you will be coming across the word ultra centrifugation, ultra centrifuge. Nowadays, more advanced technology of laser technology used for enrichment purpose, which can help in separation of isotopes based on molecular weight, right? Atomic weight and all, we can separate out the isotope by using centrifugation, ultra centrifugation there. So what is done there? Enrichment, we separate and increase the concentration of uranium 235 up to 3 to 5%. And then what happens is that this uranium is converted into uranium hexafluoride, UF6, right? Uranium hexafluoride, and then it is solidified. It is cooled down and solidified into some kind of yellow cake. There's something called yellow cake, is yellowish in color, right? And then what is done, that is broken into, made into pellet. Small type of pellets are there, PELLETS, small pellets, and that is packed into cylindrical tube. You have a cylindrical tube where you do the packing of these pellets of uranium, and it makes one tube. And then what we do, we make all the bundles of the tube in terms of fuel assembly, like 100 rods or 200 rods, depending on what is the design of the reactor. So this process of conversion to uranium hexafluoride, yellow cake, making to pellet, packaging the fuel rod with the pellets, and then making the bundle of the fuel rod. This is called as a fabrication. This is called as a fabrication. What is the fabrication? Fabrication is an operation where we convert the after enriched uranium, low enriched uranium, into solidified yellow cake, and then we make small pellets, fill it with the cylindrical tube, make a fuel rod, and we make a bundle of the fuel rods. Right, that is called as a fabrication. Now this bundle of the fuel rod it goes to the core of the reactor. We use in the reactor, nuclear reactor. Let's say in Trombay, Tarapur, right? We have a nuclear power generation. We have nuclear parks, and there are some reactors are there. So within the core of the reactor, this fuel bundle will go into that, and there will be bombardment with slow neutron, and the reaction will be controlled. Chain reaction will be there in terms of generation of heat and heat energy to water and electricity, and all this will be done there. So now what happens once the reaction is over? Let's say once the fuel rod, which we use, that goes for 1 year, 2 years, 3 years, continuous working. So all the uranium which has been mostly consumed, what we use the word burnt, there's nothing called burning, but let's say it is consumed. Then what will happen here? This is called spent fuel. We process the spent fuel. Now what happens in the spent fuel after the reaction? There will be leftover uranium. There will be some parts of uranium which will left over, 235, 238, right? There will be other type of radioisotopes which we can use for medicine, like cobalt 60, right? It can be used for treatment of cancer, right? Or thyroid problem or any kind of thing. Radioisotopes, we can separate it out. And then we have unused uranium. So unused uranium we will again go for enrichment, because it will be wastage. If we just whatever uranium we recover after the reactions are over, if we just throw it out, will not be very efficient way. So what we do, we enrich it further. We send it back to enrichment, and whatever is left over after removal, that is we will go to the last stage called nuclear waste management. Highly hazardous, highly radioactive. Nuclear waste will be, we cannot throw it to the environment, because environment, gamma radiation is an ionizing radiation. It will cause the mutation, DNA mutation. It will affect the plants, animals, air, water, soil. So we cannot just simply throw it outside. So what is done there? This nuclear waste is vitrified. There is something called vitrification, mixed with cement or concrete, very high temperature, or let's say glass form. And we pack it in a kind of a box. We cover in a sealed container. The sealed container, under that we keep it there. And then after some time, we take that box or container and bury inside the earth. Right? We can use underground mines. Let's say abandoned mines. After doing the mining, that abandoned mines, we can dump it there. Or we can dump it inside the earth where we have a impervious rock. But again, we have to see the environmental safety. Environmental safety is very, very important, because it should not happen that we keep it, we bury inside the earth, and where we have a, groundwater, right? Nearby is the groundwater, and that groundwater get contaminated with radiation. That will be highly dangerous, right? So we have to take care every aspect that wherever we are going to bury it or dump it under the earth, there has to be impervious rock, right? There should not be sprayed of the radiation. There should not be leak out of the radiation, right? Groundwater should not get contaminated with the uranium, right? At the same time, earlier, if you go back in 70s, USA, Soviet Union, all these countries, they used to bury in the deep sea, deep ocean, right? Pacific Ocean or Atlantic Ocean, deep into the ocean, they used to bury it. But again, that is we have to take care. Why? Because deep ocean also have living organisms, marine organisms. And let's say if you bury in the sea and ocean, if there is a leakage of the radiation, then the marine organism will be affected, right? So we have to take care of the environmental factors. It is very, very important. So then we dump it in based on that, correct? Is it clear here? So that's what it is called as a nuclear fuel cycle. And you will get to understand through animation. I'll play a video now. You will be able to see the entire step of the nuclear fuel cycle. And I'll tell you that this topic I'm teaching in the classroom because I consider it to be a very important topic. And I'll tell you that sometimes, the conscience, you have a sixth conscience, right? And you don't know what way UPSC, all of a sudden, a question can be asked in the exam. And there are some topics which are very important from the subject point of view, but then neglected, right? That's what this is very important here. And again, remember that any country which completes the fuel cycle, this entire cycle, is a nuclear capable country. If any country can develop all these stages, right? All these operations, right from the mining till the nuclear waste management, that country is a very capable country in the nuclear technology. That country can use for peaceful purpose, like enrichment, low enrichment, or can go for a weapons program, high enriched uranium, right? So India is a nuclear capable country, right? Our neighbors are also there. I'll just bring one context here. Many times you'll come across this word ENR. What you will come across? ENR. What does ENR stands for? ENR stands for enrichment and reprocessing. Any country which acquires this enrichment and reprocessing technology, ENR technology, right, is a nuclear capable country. Now recently, Iran, I'll just bring about the Iran context. Iran is trying to develop nuclear fuel cycle. Western powers, Western countries, particularly America, United States of America, is against Iran, right? And against Iranian policy of going for nuclear fuel cycle. Iran is working to develop this fuel cycle, but America and the Western countries, they fear that it can create some kind of geopolitical problem in that area, in that region. Like, Iran, Iraq, Iran, Kuwait, that kind of problem is there. So, Iran has now been sanctioned. The restriction over the Iran not to go about completing the fuel cycle. If Iran completes this kind of fuel cycle, Iran government can easily recover the uranium and can go for weapons program, right? That's what all the 5 permanent members of Security Council plus Germany, they're trying to negotiate with Iranian government so to stop carrying out the nuclear fuel cycle for weapons program, right? Peaceful purpose is all right. There's no problem there. And Iran has signed NPT. Iran is a signatory to Nuclear Non-Proliferation Treaty, right? But India has not signed, Pakistan has not signed, right? Israel has not signed. In North Korea, Kim Jong-un, right? The person in North Korea. North Korea joined and then violated the treaty, came out with that. Iran is also a member of NPT, but Iran wants to go for the weapons program, right? And Western powers are trying to. So that's what I said many times in current affairs, you'll come across this word ENR. So what is ENR? Enrichment, reprocessing, right? This is a very, very important part I have shown you there. Now let's see here. Let's look at here. I'll show you the documentary of that. ये साउंड आ रहा है, आप चेक कर लीजिएगा साउंड इनको एक बार इनको बोलिए कि वो फीड आ जाए.
The nuclear fuel cycle is an industrial process to produce electricity from uranium in nuclear power reactors. The cycle starts with the mining of uranium and ends with the disposal of spent fuel and other radioactive waste. As the first step of the nuclear fuel cycle, uranium recovery focuses on mining natural uranium ore from the earth. The mined uranium ore is crushed and chemically treated to separate the uranium, which is called milling. This process leaves us with yellow cake, the powder form of uranium oxide. In general, conversion is a process in which the uranium is converted to a form suitable for enrichment. Natural uranium only contains 0.71% of uranium-235, the isotope that maintains a nuclear reactor's chain reaction. To increase the concentration of uranium-235, the yellow cake must be converted into uranium hexafluoride gas. As most nuclear reactors require fuel with a uranium-235 concentration of 3 to 5%, the proportion of the uranium-235 isotope must be increased. This process is known as enrichment. This is done by introducing the UF6 gas into fast-spinning cylinders known as centrifuges, where heavier isotopes are pushed out to the cylinder walls. Enriched UF6 is converted to uranium dioxide powder and formed into small, solid cylindrical pellets. These are packed in long metal tubes which are grouped in fuel assemblies. Controlled fission, or splitting of U-235 atoms, generates heat. The heat produces steam at extremely high temperatures and pressure. The steam then spins a turbine to generate electricity. Nuclear fuel is typically used in the reactor for 3 to 5 years. After removal, it is stored underwater, which provides both cooling and radiation shielding. Later, it can also be stored dry in shielded buildings or casks. Material in spent fuel can also be recycled to produce more energy. Some countries chemically reprocess spent fuel to separate the usable material from unusable waste. For this, plutonium and natural uranium are mixed to make a new type of fuel and can be reused in existing reactors or in fast neutron reactors. Spent nuclear fuel or high-level waste can be safely disposed of deep underground in stable rock formations. Waste is packed in long-lasting containers and buried deep in the geological formations chosen for their favorable stability and geochemistry. The first such disposable facility is expected to be operational in the near future. The IAEA supports its member states in using nuclear technologies in a safe, secure, and sustainable manner.
Right, I played this video because there's the IAEA video, International Atomic Energy Agency, which is located in Vienna, right, capital of Austria, Vienna. This is the IAEA, which is called nuclear watchdog of the world, right? So it looks into all the nuclear development worldwide. So this animation very clearly depicts what is nuclear fuel cycle, right? So that's what I've said, and you'll find the document also there. There are number of documents from IAEA also. You'll find that, which talks about such kind of a fuel cycle and all. You'll find in that. It explains there. Even if you go here on the website also there, you'll see that. You'll see here. You'll find here. So what is given here? What is the nuclear fuel cycle? It's very clearly mentioned that the nuclear fuel cycle is an industrial process involving various steps to produce electricity from uranium in nuclear power reactors. The cycle starts with the mining of uranium and ends with the disposal of nuclear waste. Right? Very clearly given here. And you have seen that entire part of it, right? And you have this one, see, nuclear fuel cycle. Right? If you click on the tag, there are a number of tags are there. So if you click on that, you will get to read more about that. The news are there, whatever the news are there, like you can see that in the abandoned mines and all, they dump it there. And they do the monitoring of the all the nuclear waste and all this one, right? So the IAEA is it looks into entire aspect of the nuclear technology development worldwide, right? So here you have this, different tags are there, like for example, nuclear technology and societal application. You'll find this division of nuclear fuel cycle. The IAEA has a different division of that. So we don't have to go to the international, that aspect of that. But yes, sometimes the important application, like this is a reactor, right? This is called nuclear park. You have a nuclear technology and their application part, right? You'll find the various application part, right, in medicine, chemistry, right, in industry, environment, water, all these you'll find here, right? And it's given here, see, world distribution of thorium. There's e-newsletter also, which you can, if you have that. Now look at here, this one. World distribution of thorium. Thorium deposit. India has got monazite sands, right? Almost one fourth of the supply of thorium can come from India. And you can see here, there's a article on that, where you have the more of thorium kind of a. So IAEA keeps on doing all the research and everything, on every aspect of the nuclear science and technology. So it's the international body which work on this part. Right? You don't have to go to depth or detail of the website. Right? Why I generally open a website? Just to make you aware that there are certain information which you find on those kind of international website. Right? You should be aware of that. You don't have to be total expert. You don't have to become a nuclear scientist or expert and going into all depth part of it. That is not required there. But again, you are generally aware that, okay, IAEA is a body and they look into all this kind of development there. What is more focus area? You have to focus from DAE, Department of Atomic Energy, and then what we are doing in the country, right? What our scientists are doing in the country. And then some worldwide development of important nuclear technology, if you are coming into current news, that you have to be updated, right? So I hope that all of you have copied this particular fuel cycle. If you have copied it, then I'll go to the India's 3 stages of nuclear power program. We'll now discuss the 3 stages of India's nuclear power program. And why I have discussed the nuclear fuel cycle earlier, because now you will be able to understand the rationale, the logic behind the 3 stages of the nuclear power program as envisioned by Dr. Homi Jahangir Bhabha. You'll be able to connect the thread, right? That's what first I have to discuss this fuel cycle, correct? Any doubt you have? And I hope you all have copied from the whiteboard. All right, you have all copied there. If you don't have a doubt, then I'll go to the 3 stages of nuclear power program. I'll see the marker, which you dark color, which you can see that. All right. So let me clean the whiteboard. In case anytime you miss anything from the whiteboard, so I request all of you that always go back to the recorded video, and whichever segment you have missed out, just pause for a while there, and you can write down in your note copy or whichever your material you have, there you can note it down, right? So now let's come to the India's 3 stages of nuclear power program, which is again very important for examination point of view. So I'll be giving you, again all the important information which you need to understand from power generation from India there, right? Now let's understand here. 3 stages of India nuclear power program. Right. See, our first stage, stage 1. The stage 1 of the nuclear power program, we are using a type of reactor called PHWR. Here, pressurized heavy water reactor. PHWR, right? Now in this case of this type of reactor in stage 1, the fuel is a mixture of uranium-235 and uranium-238, right? Uranium-235 and 238 mixture oxide, where 3 to 4% here, the enrichment of uranium-235 is around 3 to 5%, not more than that. Right? Remaining rest of them will be uranium-238. That is you can say here 97 to here 95. So 95 to 97% will be uranium-238. Now what happens here? This get fission, right? It undergoes fission. They get, with the slow neutron, here we use a slow neutron, and the slow neutron brings about the fission, right? Some amount here, since in the reaction there will be some fast neutron, right? So some fast neutron, because what will happen in the process, some neutrons will be there which will be faster, but then again we will slow down the neutron by using moderator. Some amount, right here, some amount of plutonium is generated. There's something called transmutation. I mentioned in the last class, transmutation, that can convert into the next radioactive element. The nuclei of the atom of the radioactive, that will go to the next part. So transmutation happens there. Now in this case, moderator. Here we are using moderator and coolant. Both are heavy water. here the moderator and coolant, we use a single cycle where we use the heavy water, deuterium oxide. And controller is the same. I have mentioned the last class, barium and this one, barium and a cadmium based controller, right? So moderator and coolant, both are heavy water there. Now what happens, now India is now entering into stage 2. We are now moving towards stage 2. Now stage 2 program, we are doing it there in Kalpakkam. Indira Gandhi Center for Atomic Research, Kalpakkam, this is, let me write here. This is being developed by IGCAR, which is in Tamil Nadu, Kalpakkam here. So there a prototype, initially prototype fast breeder reactor was developed, right? FBR technology. Now here, the technology what you are using in the stage 2, this is called a fast breeder reactor. We are using fast breeder reactor technology, right? Now the name breeder reactor, it breeds fissionable material from non-fissionable material. It breeds more than what it consumes. That's why the name breeder comes here. And it basically uses fast neutron. So what is a FBR? It breeds fissionable plutonium, right? As well as it can also breed as well as uranium-233 using fast neutron. It is a fast neutron reactor. It doesn't use slow neutrons. What is a breeder reactor technology? It's a very advanced technology where it can breed fissionable plutonium, make plutonium from uranium-238, or it can generate uranium-233 from fast neutron there. Now what happens here is that the fuel, if you look at here, fuel here is the mixture of uranium-238 and plutonium-239. What is the fuel here? Uranium-238. We don't use uranium-235. We are using the plutonium and uranium based fuel here. So what happens here? This uranium-238, right, can be reprocessed and can be used in the second stage. That means here we are having mixture of, first stage we are having mixture of 235, 238. What gets spent? 235. What is remaining here? Uranium-238. Along with some amount will be plutonium. And we can use it where? Second stage. What is second stage? We have FBR, fast breeder reactor. And what is the fuel for this? Mixture of uranium-238 and plutonium-239. So what happens here? Uranium-238 is a non-fissionable. It does not undergo fission with a slow neutron. So what we use here, we use a fast neutron. We use here fast neutrons. We bombard the sample with the here fast neutrons. And it transmutates, converts into plutonium-239. Now plutonium-239 is a fissionable one, which can undergo fission. What undergoes fission? Plutonium-239. Uranium-238 will not go. So what we do here in this reactor, we first convert uranium-238 into fissile plutonium-239 by using fast neutrons. That's why it is called breeder. Now in this context, we don't use moderator, but we have developed this technology which use coolant as a liquid sodium. Is cooled by liquid sodium. So liquid sodium cooled reactor which was developed by IGCR Kalpakkam there, right? Which has developed this liquid sodium cooled fast breeder reactor. Why we don't require here moderator? What is the role of moderator? The role of moderator is to slow down the neutron. Since breeder reactor is a fast neutron reactor, we have to maintain continuously fast neutrons, which will bombard the uranium-238 and transmutate uranium-238 into plutonium, which will undergo fission, right? So that's what we don't maintain there, but we require a coolant. We require a coolant material. Now what happens here? This reactor can also convert thorium. We can also convert thorium-232. Thorium has a 90 as the atomic number, and we can use fast neutron. And this reactor, the breeder reactor, can also convert thorium-232 into uranium-233. See, natural isotopes of uranium are 235 and 238. Uranium-233 is artificially made in the breeder reactor. I'll repeat again. The natural form of isotopes of uranium are uranium-235 and uranium-238. What we are doing here, by using thorium-232 and with fast neutrons, in the breeder reactor we are transmutating, irradiating and transmuting into uranium-233, which is artificially produced, does not exist in nature. We make it artificially. Now what comes here? The stage 3. The future program of India will be stage 3, which is of thorium utilization. We will be using here thorium. We are going to use thorium here. Now this technology has been worked out by BARC. Bhabha Atomic Research Center has developed a technology for thorium utilization. And what we have developed? We have developed a very important technology called AHWR, Advanced Heavy Water Reactor. The BARC scientists have developed AHWR, Advanced Heavy Water Reactor, which is a thorium reactor. It is a thorium utilization reactor. This reactor will make use of thorium. So India has got limited uranium, but we have got abundant thorium, right? Now look at here, the fuel. In this context, the fuel of the AHWR, thorium is a mixture of uranium, that is a mixture of plutonium and thorium, is a partly mixture of thorium-232 and plutonium-239, and there is a mixture of thorium-232 and uranium-233. AHWR can use partly mixture of uranium-232 with plutonium-239 and mixture of thorium-232 with uranium-233. Now you'll ask me why. This doubt might come to your mind that why it is so we have to mix with thorium, uranium-233 or plutonium-239. The reason is that thorium pure thorium itself is non-fissile. If you just simply take thorium and use a neutron, it will not easily undergo fission. Thorium undergoes fission if there is something to provide the neutron to the thorium. Some source of neutron can be provided to thorium. So we mix thorium with plutonium, which provides the source of neutron, or uranium-233, which provides the source of neutron. And that helps in the thorium to break down, disintegrate. So thorium itself in a pure form cannot be used. We have to mix thorium with either any kind of a radioactive material which can provide neutron to thorium. Either we can mix with the plutonium or we can mix with the uranium-233. Now what happens here? So here the fuel, right? The fuel can be obtained from here. from the second stage, fast breeder reactor, we can process the plutonium and can use with the thorium in the third stage. Or we can make uranium-233 artificially from thorium using the fast breeder reactor and mix with thorium and use in the third stage. So here, if you look at here, in this context we use a moderator. In this context here, the moderator, if you look at the moderator here, the moderator is here heavy water, but it is cooled by normal water. Here we are using normal coolant. So it is a moderated. Here moderator is the heavy water, that's what is called advanced heavy water reactor. And but the coolant here, the cooling part of the reactor for the thorium reactor is the normal ordinary light water. Ordinary normal light water. That is used as a coolant. Now if you look at the capacity of that, pressurized heavy water reactor has it can generate 700 megawatt electricity. FBR what we have developed can generate 500 megawatt electricity. And presently the prototype, here we have a prototype of the thorium reactor, AHWR prototype, that is low energy thorium based, that is a 300 megawatt. We can scale up in the future. So what we find here is that end product of the each stage will be used in the second stage, next stage. Like here, stage 1 use uranium-235, 238. So 235, 3 to 5% which gets burnt up, consumed in the reaction. Whatever remaining is 238 or some amount of plutonium, which becomes a fuel in the second stage, in the breeder reactor. Where the breeder reactor convert uranium-238, which is non-fissile, into plutonium-239, which is a fissionable one. Right? At the same time, breeder reactor, we can use thorium and convert thorium into uranium-233. And breeder reactor is very important for India's program because we can process this plutonium out, we can take out the uranium-233, mix with thorium and use it in the third stage AHWR, advanced heavy water reactor. Right? So you can see that each of the stage fuel the other. So this is a basically interconnected cycle. They are not separate. What is the objective of India's having 3-stage program? Complete use of fuel. Complete utilization of uranium-235, uranium-238, plutonium and thorium. We want to use everything. We want to minimize any kind of wastage. We want to make the process very, very, very efficient. Taking care of everything. That's what this 3-stage program has been chalked out. You can copy this one. Any doubt you have, you can ask me. I have put across the points on the whiteboard. It's a very important topic, and for everyone in the classroom, this has to be understood. Right? And FBR is very advantageous for India, fast breeder reactor, because it is just the intermediate between the first stage and second stage. I can tell you like this one. If I have to just make again here, stage 1, I'll just make another one. Stage 1, that will sustain the stage 2. And stage 2 will sustain stage 3. Stage 1, we are using here uranium-235 with the uranium-238. But what is the end product here? Uranium-238 with plutonium-239. That goes to stage 2. So stage 2 uses uranium-238 along with plutonium-239 as a fuel, right, where this gets mutated into this one. And this produces the plutonium. At the same time, I've said thorium can be converted into uranium-233. And this gets fed. So plutonium-239 and uranium-233 can fade into the stage 3, where you have thorium with plutonium and thorium with uranium-233. This is the way the cycle has been developed, right? This is how we have developed. This is a PHWR. Here we are using FBR. So FBR is the middle one. And then we have here AHWR, Advanced Heavy Water Reactor. Any doubt? First you copy it down. If you have any doubt, then you can ask me there. First you copy down. Any doubt? No doubt? Really good, you are able to understand. All have copied this one? Okay, one question I have come across from Kapil. Kapil is asking the question, why do we use water as coolant in stage 3? Why not use heavy water as it? Because of the design. Kapil, your question that why, see Kapil is asking this question that why don't we use here again in advanced heavy water reactor both moderator as a coolant as a heavy water? That is again based on the design, because thorium reactor is a vertical type of reactor. The design is not the same as PHWR. So it uses two operations, one for the moderator separate and another for the coolant. Whereas in PHWR, we use the same cycle for moderation like which pass through the core of the reactor. We use heavy water to slow down the neutron as a moderator, at the same time extract the heat by cooling it as a coolant, going inside the core of the reactor. But what we have done, our scientists, the thorium reactor. The thorium reactor, we have made a vertical type of a reactor where we are using two pipes, one for the coolant, another for the moderation. That's again based on design part, right? Kapil has asked a very good question. That's what given there. And yes, you're right there. Heavy water, see, always remember that the primary role or function of heavy water is to carry out moderation. The main role is the moderator. Secondary role is the coolant. Always remember that. Heavy water, the primary role of heavy water is to moderate. But wherever we are having a need, we can use as a coolant also. But that is the secondary role of the heavy water. Cooling can be done with normal water also. Right? Cooling can be done with normal water also. Right? But what is the main role? Moderator. So initially when we developed pressurized heavy water reactor, because there we are using pressure. I have said in the last class that when you pass under the pressure, so what happens? The boiling point becomes higher. The superheated, very hot. Heavy water not only does the moderation, but also cool down take out the heat. And that goes to another chamber, where we have a normal water which comes in contact with the superheated hot water, superheated heavy water. And that 100 degrees centigrade, the normal water becomes a steam. And that runs the turbine generator. That is a PHWR. I'm talking about PHWR. Right? But in thorium reactor, we have made a vertical type of a tube reactor, where you're using one pipe for the moderation, another for the kind of a coolant. You can say that AHWR, Advanced Heavy Water Reactor of India, stage 3, is basically combination of a boiling water reactor. What is boiling water reactor? A boiling water reactor simply passes the water becomes steam, and that steam runs the turbine. So it has a certain component from the boiling water reactor also. That's what the coolant, we are keeping a separate cycle which absorbs the heat and becomes a steam to run the turbine generator to produce electricity. And the one stage we are using for the moderation part, to slow down the neutron. Right? Kapil, clear there? Now Praveen Nagar is asking another question. In second stage, uranium-238 is bombarded with fast neutron, after which it turns into plutonium-239, which in turn produces electricity. Correct? Okay. So his doubt is that plutonium is getting consumed in the second stage itself, then how we are using it in third stage? Okay, very good question. Very good, Praveen. Well done. Praveen has asked a very good question there. When we are converting here in the second stage, in the breeder reactor, uranium-238 into plutonium-239, now we have two options here. You understand? We have two options. Either we continue with the fast neutron here, plutonium-239, and can undergo the fission part and can generate the heat and go for power generation. Or we can also extract. FBR, remember that the two stages are there. You can bifurcate into two parts. The thorium which is made there, it can be bifurcated into two aspects of there. Right? Praveen's question is very valid question he has asked. If this plutonium will get consumed here, then how can we get this plutonium here? Because in third stage, we are mixing plutonium with thorium. So you have to understand like this. This breeder reactor, the first part of the breeder reactor is to produce plutonium. Right? You can say first series, right, within the FBR is to make plutonium. Then this plutonium, this next series comes here, use of plutonium as a fission, to undergo for the fission and power generation. So you can split this FBR into two parts. Either the plutonium which is generated can be consumed and the power generation, or we take it out. We don't allow the plutonium to be further going for fission, midway, right? Like this one. If I just, what we can do here is that this plutonium, now what can be there? Either we can take it out and use a fuel, or it can undergo fission. You can say that as it goes here, it can be bifurcated into two parts. Either one part is that we can extract the plutonium and use it as a fuel, and second part is that we don't extract. We don't extract the plutonium. We allow the plutonium to go to the next stage. What is the next stage? Fission. And then power generation. Right? So it gets split into two parts. Either you take out the plutonium and go for further utilization, or you don't take out the plutonium but it undergoes fission, and with that we use the power generation. Right? So that is what we have controlled. There's a control mechanism. Here we can control it. Either we let the reaction to continue and then go for the power generation, or we take it out the plutonium and then use it there, which can be extracted. And one more thing, remember that plutonium is also very important material for atom bomb, nuclear weapon. So let's say in the breeder reactor, the first part of the reactor where we generate plutonium, so when we take out the plutonium, either we can use the same plutonium for making a nuclear bomb or atom bomb or weapons program, or we mix a small part of the plutonium with the thorium. Again, remember that plutonium which will be required with the thorium will not be very high quantity. Right? What is the main thing? Remember the third stage. Stage 3 is the thorium utilization. So here the plutonium which is used, that is not in a high quantity. Plutonium is just like a igniter. घी पता है ना, घी आग में घी का जो काम होता है ना, ताकि आग जल जाए. Right? That is the role of the plutonium in the third stage. So you require very small quantity of plutonium so that the plutonium can provide the neutrons to the thorium, and the thorium can undergo fission. So when I'm saying here that this plutonium can be recovered and used with the thorium here in the third stage, so this plutonium is not in a very high quantity, it's a very small quantity. And the role of the plutonium here mixing with thorium is to supply neutrons to the thorium, so that thorium can undergo fission. As I've said in the classroom, that thorium, pure thorium, if you take only thorium, pure thorium, itself will not undergo fission unless until thorium is mixed with another radioactive material which can supply neutron to the thorium. So we are using plutonium as a kind of a supplement to provide neutrons to the thorium to undergo fission. Right? So here the plutonium which is required to be mixed with thorium is just a small quantity. Just a small quantity. Small one, not large. To which we can extract from here. We will not continue with that. What we can do, we will not let the plutonium undergo fission. We will stop the part reaction, take out the plutonium. And then we can use in third stage, or we can take the plutonium and make nuclear weapons. That's a very important advantage of FBR. So now let's look at the question. Now what I'm coming here, 2017 mains exam. First I'll read out the question. 2017 the mains exam. The question is this one. The question was this one. GS3 paper. The question was like this one. Give an account of the growth and development of nuclear science and technology in India. 2017 main examination. So let me write here. There are two questions are there. In mains examination, you have a question in 2017 and 2018. Let me discuss this question there. Right? Now 2017, this question was that, I am reading out the question here. Give an account of the growth and development of nuclear science and technology in India. This is the first part of the question. That the candidate has to write an account of growth of nuclear science and technology in India. What does that mean? Growth and development of nuclear science and technology in India. In that part of the answer, a candidate has to write about Department of Atomic Energy, the 3 stages of nuclear power program, Then with the research organization, whatever we have in the R&D, research reactors, we are using radioisotope for nuclear and agriculture, for nuclear medicine, agriculture and other application. So that is the account of that. Now second part of the question says that what is the advantage of fast breeder program, reactor program in India? What is the advantage of the fast breeder reactor program in India? The second part of the question is asking what is the advantage of the fast breeder reactor program in India? So what is the advantage of the fast breeder reactor program in India? That it is a connecting point midway between the first stage and the last stage, third stage. So what is the advantage of using FBR? That FBR can use uranium-238, which is more abundant. When we take out the ore, mining of the uranium, what we get more in fractions? We are getting more in fraction uranium-238. And we don't want to waste that uranium-238, which is more in amount. So that can be taken care in the FBR. At the same time, FBR is also connecting link as part of the third stage, because we have to use plutonium with the thorium to provide the neutrons. Second advantage of FBR. What is second advantage of FBR? That this plutonium which is produced in the reactor vessel can be extracted and can be for nuclear weapons program. Now there is a term called safeguard. What is the term called as? Safeguard. What is safeguard? Safeguard means here that peaceful use of technology shall not be diverted for military program. That is called nuclear safeguard. I'll again repeat. What is the meaning of the term nuclear safeguard? Peaceful use of nuclear technology shall not be diverted into military program. What is military program? Weapons. Weapons program. Now IAEA, International Atomic Energy Agency, maintains that those who are the signatory of NPT and all this one have to maintain nuclear safeguard. What is nuclear safeguard? The countries must use the technology for peaceful purpose. What is peaceful purpose? Power generation, medical use, agriculture use, industrial use, not for making nuclear weapons. Now India has signed a special agreement. India has signed a special agreement with, there is a group of countries called NSG, Nuclear Suppliers Group. Nuclear Suppliers Group was formed after Pokhran 1, 1974, when India conducted first Pokhran. After that, NSG was formed. And they control the nuclear commerce. India is trying to get the membership, but India is not getting the membership because NSG was formed with that pretext that those who have not signed NPT will not be a member. So since India has not signed a NPT, but again for commerce, nuclear commerce, growing demand of nuclear power in India, the bigger market in India. So foreign country, America, France, right, all they look for India as a market. So deal has been signed where, what is nuclear safeguard? If we bring any reactor, try to understand, if we bring any reactor under nuclear safeguard agreement, that means that reactor will be only used for peaceful purpose. And IAEA, International Atomic Energy Agency inspectors can always come there and can inspect that this particular reactor is only being used for peaceful purpose, not for weapons program, right? But let's say those reactors where India keep it outside the safeguard. Now think of that. Those reactors India has not kept under safeguard. What does that mean? If India has not kept under safeguard, it means that that particular reactor can have dual use. Peaceful use, military use. If government of India is keeping aside, right, a reactor, or keeping a reactor not under nuclear safeguard, it means that the government of India has the right to use that particular reactor for both peaceful purpose and military application. Dual use. FBR is this one. Why I gave you background? FBR is this one. FBR can be used for dual use. It can be used for dual use purpose. We can go for power generation. We can feed with the thorium with the next stage, third stage, ASWR, but at the same time, plutonium graded nuclear bomb or stockpile we can prepare. So we can keep FBR outside the safeguard agreement, so that we can use for both military and peaceful purpose. Right? These are the advantages. Now 2018, now I'll come to 2018. Now what was the question 2018 there? 2018, question number 16. Question 16 was, with growing energy needs, should India keep on expanding its nuclear energy program? I'll again read out the question. Question number 16, GS3 paper 2018 mains exam. With growing energy needs, should India keep on expanding its nuclear energy program? What do you think that? With demand, growing need of the energy, right? Should India keep on expanding nuclear program? The answer will be both yes and no. But yes, why yes? Today, the highest amount of power generation is based on fossil fuel. 68% of our power generation, electricity generation, comes from coal-based thermal power plants. And when we burn coal as a fossil fuel, it pollutes the environment with air pollution, carbon dioxide gas, nitrogen oxides, NOx, sulfur dioxide gas. It affects the environment in terms of acid rain, global warming, greenhouse effect, global warming and climate change. Right? So what alternative India has got? India has got two alternatives. Which are two alternatives? The first alternative is the nuclear power. Right? Because nuclear power with less fuel can generate more power. If you use tons of coal, right? When you burn tons of coal to get the heat energy, to get the steam and then run the power plant. Uranium, ounce of uranium or thorium can give you that amount of heat. Right? Although nuclear reactor technology is very, very expensive, is an expensive technology. But in long term, power generation and the amount of power which can be generated by nuclear reactor will be higher. Right? So we can replace dirty coal-based, fossil fuel-based power generation using thermal power plant with the nuclear power generation. But what is the concern there? The concern is the radiation in the environment. Concern is with the leak out of the gamma radiation or such harmful radiation to the air, water, soil. Concern is that if we don't dispose the nuclear waste in a proper manner, in a safe manner, it will create problem for the biodiversity, ecology and the environment part and human health. That is the concern with nuclear technology. Right? Another concern is the accident, Fukushima disaster in Japan. Right? You all know that Daiichi nuclear power plant meltdown happened there. And forget, if you just go back, Ukraine, 1986 in Ukraine, Chernobyl disaster, a very high level of radiation leak out was there, accident was there, Chernobyl. They are the risks. Right? What second alternative India has got? The second alternative of India is to replace coal-based thermal power plant is the renewable power generation, renewable energy. What are the forms of renewable energy? Solar power, wind power, biomass power, tidal power, right? We can go for renewable power generation. Right? So the question which comes here in the examination, I'll read again question. What is the question here? With growing energy needs, should India keep on expanding its nuclear energy program? So yes, why? Because of the demand, right? Right from the beginning, India has developed the foundation in nuclear technology. We have built some kind of reactors, and we are using the power generation. 22 plus reactors are there in the country in 8 parks. Right. At the same time, political aspect, again, you can know that diplomatic ties, Indo-US nuclear deal, Indo-France nuclear deal, Indo-Kazakhstan, Indo-Mongolia, Indo-Russia, now with Indo-Australia, Indo-Japan, Indo-Canada. So you can build a relation also there with foreign countries. These are the positive side. And nuclear can generate more energy. Nuclear will not release greenhouse gases. But what is India should not expand? If you have to go against, you have to write both the argument. Yes also, no also. Why India should not expand? India should not expand because of that nuclear waste. How we take care of the highly hazardous nuclear waste? We cannot dump it outside. What about the nuclear accidents? What about the leakage of the radiation in the environment? Affect to the ecology, biodiversity, human health, right? What about sabotage? The threat of the terrorism attack? Who knows? It can be possible. Attack on the nuclear reactors, right? So that is the negative side, correct? Now second part of the question. Second part of the question is that discuss the facts. Very important part. Discuss the facts. It says fact. Discuss the facts and fears. Why people are afraid. Discuss the facts and fears associated with nuclear energy. Discuss the facts and fears associated with nuclear energy. So what are the facts? That India has a 3-stage nuclear power program. India has now currently 22 reactors which generate 6780 megawatt of electricity. India has got 8 nuclear parks, Trombay, Tarapur, so and so and so. India has NPCIL as operator. We have now got Bhavini, Bhartiya Navikiya Vidyut Nigam Limited as another PSU for second stage FBR. These are the facts, right? Establishment and everything, these are facts. And what are fears? Environmental pollution, nuclear pollution, nuclear waste generation, right? Affect to ecology, biodiversity, human health, environment, right? Nuclear accident like Fukushima, Chernobyl, right? These are the fears. Both the exam question, 2017-18 exam question, they are very simple questions. One can easily write answers, right? But I'll tell you that, man ki baat. I have found many students, right, every year who are going to write main exam. These guys keep on reading lots of study material, keep on visiting so many websites, keep on reading so much of current affairs, and UPSC asks very simple question. 2017 give an account of growth and development of nuclear science and technology in India and what is the advantage of FBR. 2018 question. What is 2018 question? With the growing demand of energy, should India expand nuclear energy program? Discuss the facts and fears associated with nuclear energy program. So students keep on reading big thing, lots of current aspect. But when it comes to a simple type of question to write in the nuclear technology, they fail to write the answer. If you don't bring this particular part and your logical argument, you will not get marks, right? That's what I always keep on saying. Mains exam is simple also, mains exam is tough also. It's difficult for those who make all the cobweb, kachra, by reading so much of current affairs, so many facts. And then question which comes, they're not able to write, right? So your understanding should be simple and you should be knowing in a holistic manner with your own kind of creative thought and originality in terms of writing the answer. Why I discuss the questions of the exam? So that you are able to understand, right, the importance of the topic and you are able to understand how UPSC asks questions in the exam. Correct? Okay, there's one question there. The stage of India nuclear power program happened at one place or different place? Different places. See here we are having 22 reactors, right? They're in different places. Stage 2 we are having in Tamil Nadu, Kalpakkam. Now stage 3, that is again future. India is moving from first stage. See, we are right now in stage 1. We are right now in stage 1. All the 22 reactors and the 8 parts which I've talked about, they're stage 1. Stage 2 is going on where? Kalpakkam in Tamil Nadu. Stage 2 is going on Kalpakkam in Tamil Nadu. Right? This is just a prototype. BARC has just developed a prototype. Once we come to the second stage and we develop the second stage completely, then India will move to the third stage. So where we are right now? We are right now in the stage 1. Where we are right now? Stage 1. And where we are generating it? We are generating in all such nuclear parks. But in Kalpakkam in Tamil Nadu, we have a dedicated where we are working with the 500 megawatt FBR. Right? And this, so you can say Kalpakkam will be both stage 1 and stage 2 together. Because Kalpakkam already has PSWR. And now Kalpakkam is having FBR. Third stage is the future. That is the only prototype has been developed. All right. Now Rahul Srivastava asking question that why electricity produced by most advanced reactors is list. Again, in terms of water and steam generation, like you cannot say this one. See, Rahul, you cannot just generalize like this one. That electricity production by most advanced reactors list is not the true statement, right? It happens why? Because efficiency, if you look at here, it's saying produced by most advanced reactors list. Is the reason being that is that how much is the utilization of the heat, the extraction of heat from the core of the reactor and the generation of steam. See, how much electricity will be generated? That will depend upon the steam generation. And the steam generation will depend upon the how much heat in the core has been converted into steam generation. That ratio. So that again matters of the design aspect and everything. But now remember that 700 megawatt or 500 megawatt, all these are now being worked out in such a manner that now, for example, Russia has got VVER 1000, Voda Energy Reactor, which generates 1000 megawatt of electricity. In France, there is a company called Areva, AREVA, Areva is a French company. And Jetapur in Maharashtra and Jetapur, India is going to have the largest nuclear park, where we are having six EPR, European Pressurized Reactor. What is the name of the reactor? EPR, European Pressurized Reactor. And each reactor can generate 1650 megawatt. Our one reactor, indigenous reactor, can generate only 700 megawatt. But EPR, European Pressurized Reactor, can generate 1650 megawatt. So there the efficiency is higher. Again, it depends on the design aspect. How it is designed, the working part of it. Our indigenous reactors doesn't have enough of the efficiency as compared to the foreign reactors. That's what we have to buy reactors from others. That's why India is having the relationship agreement, bilateral agreement with the USA or Russia or France, Mongolia, Kazakhstan, Australia, Canada. Why we are signing those ones? Because they have more advanced technology where they can generate more power, right? Correct? Any other doubt? Shall we take a break? Although the class started late, right, 15 minutes late class started because I have to travel from a long distance. It takes almost 1.5 hours to reach to the classroom for me. So I know that you may be, having that worry that still 1:30 then sir has not turned up. So that takes time for me, right? So can we have a small break here so that I can have lunch and come back? Right. So okay. Tushar is saying yes, sir. Okay. Can we have a small break? And I hope that you have copied this diagram there. Please copy it. This is the class notes, right? Please copy it. ठीक है, break ले लें. Deepak is saying yes. Tushar is saying yes. I don't know others. They have gone to hibernation. All right. Let's have a small break. Right? We'll come back. And we'll go to the last topic, research reactors. We'll discuss about research reactors, and then we'll discuss about other application of nuclear technology. Right? With that, we'll end up the nuclear technology. So that next class we'll start with the new technology. All right? And I've discussed the previous 2 years mains question. Right? Somebody has asked me to discuss the mains question. I've discussed that. All right? So let's have a small break and come back. Okay, we'll resume back. Rishabh is saying that is it possible to attack a nuclear reactor by external means like malware or Trojan? Yes, yes, it is possible. Cyber threat. Cyber threat has become a very important threat worldwide. And recent time it has happened that many of the government establishments, government systems have been hacked, or there has been attack from the malware and all this. Trojan attack, malware attack, it has been there. That risk is there. That's what I said now. Nuclear technology is a dual use technology. It's a two-edged sword. You can use for a peaceful purpose, at the same time the militarization program. And there is always a threat of sabotage. There can be also not only nuclear accident, but again in terms of sabotage. And one way of sabotage is the physical sabotage, to where you have a group of armed men and they enter the establishment and then destroy the nuclear reactor. That is more dangerous. But what is another way of sabotage? Through the cyber threat, where cyber security is breached and the system is hacked. And then again it can create a devastation, right? So right, you're right, Rishabh, you're right there. That is also there. Kudankulam nuclear power plant, there was this kind of issues there. Kudankulam nuclear power plant, that is a Russian reactor. Russia, see, India has a long relation with Russia, and Russia has helped India in terms of development of nuclear technology. And there was a lot of protest against the Russian reactor being operated or being constructed in Kudankulam in Tamil Nadu. Like, Greenpeace Foundation, they led a protest against the Russian reactor in the Kudankulam, right? And you know that now government has kept into such a NGO, non-government organization, under radar, right? Foreign Contribution Regulation Act, FCRA, right? But again, there's kind of cyber attack and all this can be there. And it's not only one nuclear reactor and one nuclear park. It can be anywhere. Any nuclear park in the country can be vulnerable to such kind of attack. You are right there, Rishabh, you are right. You have raised a very important issue regarding cyber security. That's really good, right? Now let's come to the topic here. What I'm now coming here, we'll discuss the last two topics of the nuclear technology. One is research reactors, right? India has got a number of research reactors. Research reactors, because if it is not there, we will not be able to develop the new technology there, right? Now, what is the purpose of having such a research reactor is that they're basically test bed, right? So here, the first point is that they are test bed for experimenting. New technologies. Whatever the new technologies in the field of nuclear science and technology, they become a test bed. Let's say when we want to develop a new type of reactor, right, a commercial reactor. So first we'll conduct the research into research reactor, right? Now what is another aspect of this research reactor is that they're used for training purpose. Right? They are also used for training purpose. New recruits, new scientists, new engineer, right? New engineers, scientists, they are trained. They first do the training in the research reactors, and then they go for the actual bigger reactors there. So here, training purpose and education purpose also they are used for that. That is skill development, for in terms of capacity building, skill development. And third very important application is that is research reactors are also used for making isotopes, radioisotopes, which can be used for nuclear medicine. Right? Cobalt-60 or iodine-131, there can be different type of radio tracer elements can be there, right? That can be also made by using research reactors. Now examples here, I'll take you to the websites of those examples, like for example, initially we had a Cyrus, right? Then we have Purnima. Then you have a Zarlina, right? Then recently a very, very important reactor called Dhruv, right? Dhruv reactor. Then comes the Apsara. Apsara was decommissioned. Now we have got a new Apsara. Upgraded Apsara has come up, right? Now for this one, Kalpakkam has got a reactor called Kalpakkam mini reactor, Kamini. And Kamini research reactor played very important role in developing the FBR. Prototype fast breeder reactor was developed using Kamini reactor, right? So this stands for Kalpakkam mini reactor. So this was a test bed. Kamini was a test bed for developing PFBR, prototype fast breeder reactor. Technology was developed there, right? So these are the part of that. And let me take you to the examples here. So what I'll do here is that let's look into the reactors there. Research reactors, it will come to your screen there. You will simply do the Google search, research reactors, BARC, Bhabha Atomic Research Center. Now you can see this one. Apsara reactor, which was, see, this is the one here. Right? So Apsara reactor which was in 60s developed there. But then it was decommissioned and now we have Apsara upgraded. Apsara U reactor, upgraded version of, which is swimming pool type of reactor. You can see that is a swimming pool type of reactor and is a upgraded version of Apsara. Right? It has come in the PIB also there. If you go to the PIB site, I'll just take you to the PIB site here. Let's say here PIB. And I've given you in the handout also there. In your last class handout, in the box you have Apsara U given. I've given as in a back box there. Now this one, Apsara upgraded. Now you can see here, what is given here. Research reactors are the backbone of nuclear program. Dr. Homi Jahangir Bhabha told this one. And Apsara, the first research reactor in Asia. First research reactor in Asia became operational in Trombay, BARC Center of Trombay campus at BARC in August 1956. The first Apsara that was in August 1956. This is the first research reactor in Asia. And now, then it was got decommissioned. It was started in 1956, then it was decommissioned. Now what is given here? After providing the more than 5 decades of dedicated service to the researcher, the reactor was shut down in 2009. So it was shut down in 2009. And now Apsara upgraded version has come up. Right? Upgraded version of Apsara has come up there. Now 62 years after Apsara's swimming pool type of research reactor, Apsara upgraded has a higher capacity was in Trombay on 10th September 2018. Now this was on 10th September 2018. The upgraded swimming pool type of reactor was developed. Right? So you'll find here, see, low enriched uranium. Right? Reactor indigenously use plate type dispersion fuel elements made of so and so. It gives you all the part of it. Right? You can see the image also there. Right? Which image also you can see that. Right? So that was in the, then comes here this one. Cyrus reactor. Right? Then Dhruv reactor is also one of the old reactors in the BARC Center. Then Kamini I have said that this is in Kalpakkam mini reactor. Right? Vertical tank type thermal reactor, date of criticality, this one date given, fuel material and all this given. What do you mean by criticality? Whenever you come across in newspaper that particular reactor has become critical or has attained criticality, it means that now the sustained chain reaction is now being maintained. See, initially when you use the fuel rod with uranium, there is no neutron. You have to supply neutron from outside. Once you bombard with neutrons from outside, then it will undergo fission and generate more neutrons. and then through the controller rod and moderator, we control the reaction and make it a sustained chain reaction, sustained controlled chain reaction. That is called as a criticality, attaining criticality, right? So here you can see here the fuel material given there. Neutron radiography, calibration of detectors, material characterization, shielding experiment, irradiation studies, all has been given here. So you have this one, then Purnima 1, right? May 18, 1972. Purnima 2nd, May 10th, 1984. Purnima 3, November 9, 1990, right? Zarlina, January 14, 1961. All these are the names of the reactors, right? Now, apart from that, we have other type of, like here, we also use accelerators. Right, we come across accelerators. Then one will be the linear accelerators, which provide the fast beam, right? Provides a beam of electrons, let's say electrons, or let's say protons, right? One more type of cyclic accelerators, which provides more in terms of high speed charged particle, like such as here cyclotron. You will come across what? Cyclotron, right? And even in India, we have a center called as a variable energy. We have a center called as a variable energy cyclotron center. In Kolkata, this is a very, very important center, and this center, scientists and engineers played very important role in terms of Large Hadron Collider, right? Large Hadron Collider in CERN, Geneva, which has discovered God particle or Higgs boson particle. There is a particle accelerator in European Center for Nuclear Research, CERN, Geneva, right? There, that is a contribution of Indian scientists in terms of maintenance and development of such cyclic 10-kilometer circumference, Franco-Geneva border under the earth. This particular LSC has been built, Large Hadron Collider, where the proton was given the highest energy and proton-proton beam was collided together to break into smaller components, where the Higgs boson particle or God particle was discovered, correct? So again, this center was very important in terms of building this LSC, Large Hadron Collider, right? Sometimes in industrial application or in the lab, we require beam of electron, beam of proton. So there we can use accelerators. And today we make indigenous accelerators in the country, right? And I'll just give you one current example, very important current example here. Recently in PIB, Press Information Bureau, it was there in the case of cyclone. Let me take you to that. Cyclone accelerator, Cyclone 30, right? Cyclone 30. Many of the students, if the question comes direct in the exam, let's say in the prelims exam, you get a direct question. Cyclone 30 seen in the news is what? ABCD. Many will think that, okay, it may be a natural cyclone, super cyclone off the coast in Odisha or Andhra Pradesh, Bay of Bengal or Andhra Pradesh. May not recall that it can be a accelerator, cyclotron. Now you see here, medical cyclotron facility. Now it will come to your screen there. Medical cyclotron facility, Cyclone 30, became operational at VECC, Variable Energy Cyclotron Center in Kolkata. Now this PIB article, PIB press release came on 18 September 2018. I am talking about 3 years back, right? Why I am discussing all this in the classroom? See, my first part is that you should know the theory part. And then wherever the topics which are very, very important for the UPSC exam, where, probably the questions can be asked in the exam, I can take you to that topic there. 3 years back, it was in the news, Cyclone 30. What if the question comes in the exam? अगर क्वेश्चन आ गया तो बहुतों का तो विकेट चला जाएगा. Right? Many people will, why? Because they will not know Cyclone 30, what UPSC asked the question, right? So you should be aware of that. What has happened from the Indian development, you should be very much aware of that. Science and technology, that's what is a very dynamic area, right? Cyclone 30. Variable Energy Cyclotron Center, Kolkata has developed this medical cyclotron which provide radioisotopes. What it provides? Radioisotopes for medical application. Now let's look at here. See here. Cyclotrons are used to produce radioisotopes for diagnostic and therapeutic use for cancer care. Where we use cyclotrons? Cyclotrons are used to produce radioisotopes for diagnostic and therapeutic use for cancer care. Right? Cyclone 30, the biggest cyclotron in India. The biggest cyclotron in India, Cyclone 30 for medical application, has become operational with 30 mega electron volt beam. Right, that was given there. And it can produce what? Fluorine 18 isotope. Fluorine 18 isotope for the preparation of FDG. Fluorine fluorodeoxyglucose, a radiopharmaceutical used by Board of Radiation Isotope Technology, BRIT. Now you can see here, again what is said here, iodine isotope, iodine 123, right, for thyroid treatment and all. Then again you can see here, germanium 68, gallium 68, which are palladium 103 isotope, used for diagnosis of breast cancer, prostate cancer treatment. And I'll tell you, this is where the UPSC will catch you. This is where the UPSC will ask you the question. Right? What you have right now. And you can see here, this is the photograph given. Cyclone 30. Right? So, Cyclone 30 is an important topic. So, I am writing here this one. Biggest medical cyclotron in India built by VECC, that is the Cyclone 30. And kindly refer the PIB site for this. Right? Cyclone 30 for that. Now let's come to the another part of it. What I'll now do here is that, let me clean the whiteboard. I'll go to the other applications also there. I hope you have written this one, research reactors and all this. Right? Now let's look at here. We'll see the application of nuclear science and technology in the field of agriculture, and I'll supplement you this with the development by our own Indian scientists and scientific organization part of it. How socio-economic development linked with nuclear science and technology. So first area of applications of nuclear technology. So I am taking you to the first area here is that food and agriculture. First area we will discuss about food and agriculture. Now let's look at food and agriculture here. Let us see certain examples here. First is that food irradiation. If you irradiate food with certain type of radiation in a controlled manner, then it can kill the germs, kill the small worms and pests and all this. And the food will remain as a fresh for a long time. But you may ask that, sir, what would happen if we eat that kind of irradiated food? May not that we will get a tumor or cancer? It is a very valid question, right? If such kind of food which is processed with radiation and that is sold in the market and you are consuming that food, so will you get the radiation and you will have any health impact? The answer is no. Radiation is only used for treatment purpose. The sample or the food material will not have remnant of the dose of the radiation. They're only meant to targeted bacteria or viruses or those kind of harmful substance which can be killed or removed. Right? That is where the radiation is used. Otherwise, the food becomes safe. and that is certified by FSSAI, FSSAI, Food Safety and Standard Authority of India, with the label. Then it goes to the market. So what comes here, that is here, the first part is the food preservation. Right, food preservation by irradiation. Now what advantage it has got? It kills the worm. It has what benefits are there? Benefits are, it has got germicidal effect. Right? It kills the insect, pesticide, even the insects, they will be killed up there. Minimize the spoilage of the food. The food will not get spoiled. Right? Maintains the freshness of the fruit or the vegetable or the flowers, whatever the food is there. It also helps in the storage for a long time. Shelf storage for long time. These are the benefits of having irradiated food, right? And we can use there. Where we can use? We can use, let's say, examples here. Let's say fruits, mango. One of the very famous mango is Alfonso, Hapus. They're exported outside India, right? There's big demand in the outside India. So again, they can be used. Then lychee. Muzaffarpur in Bihar, where the lychee is grown. Right? Muzaffarpur in Bihar, and lychee, where lychee is grown there. Now the farmers are using this technology. Right? Then comes here, in terms of flowers, rose, tulip, whichever type of flowers. Father Day, Mother Day, Sister Day, Brother Days, Valentine's Day, whatever. The fresh flowers which is sold in the market. Again, Dadar, if you go to Mumbai, Dadar railway station, you'll find a big flower market is there, right? In South India, flowers and all are more in demand. In North India, you won't find that much of demand. In North India, only when you have to gift somebody, then you get a flower, a bouquet of flower, right? But South India, they have tradition, right? So again, the flowers. Then here, fish, right? Poultry, like let's say poultry, all these spices, like in garam masala, spices, raba, right? Such kind of all these food items can be preserved using the irradiation food technology. And what I said, they are certified. The safety norm, they are certified by the FSSAI based on international norm. So now it's up to you. You being a consumer, you have a choice. If in the market you buy a product and you see that, okay, irradiated food, right, food irradiation, it will give the dose and everything given there. Now it is up to your choice whether you want to eat or not, right? But again, this technology can be used. Second, let's say in terms of agriculture, high yield crop variety, high yield crop varieties. What scientists do, they take the seeds and then do the selective mutation. What is mutation? Change in the DNA or gene by using the radiation. Selective mutations by using radiations. Low dose or high dose radiations are used to make changes in the DNA and the gene. And those seeds which are high yield varieties, they are field trial. There is a experimental trial in the agriculture land. And from there the high yield crops are developed. Is another useful technology in terms of agriculture. Agriculture is a very, very important topic. Both from economy, social, economic, and also science and technology, geography, every area agriculture comes. Right? So there, like for example here, I'll give you an example here. Trombe varieties of crop, the Trombe Center of Bark, right, has developed a Trombe groundnut varieties, they're called Akola. Akola is a place in Maharashtra, there's a groundnut, Mungfali. right? It's called TAG, T-A-G, TAG 24. Then mustard, rice, pulses, right? Jute, even the jute varieties, these all have been developed, right? Now let's see here. I'll take you to the part of examples there. Right, you will not be satisfied unless until I don't give you some kind of examples from the bark site there. I'm taking you to the web page of Bhabha Atomic Research Center. This is the web page, right? Now you can see flora, bougainvillea varieties. Now see here, advanced instrument, engineering, agriculture, bioscience, environment, medical equipment, radiation technology, water technology, liquid helium devor, developed at bark, production of turmeric based nutraceutical developed at bark, air plasma torch developed at bark. See all the flora, this is all given here. You find here, right? And you will get all this information here, public awareness. When you go to public awareness, and now let's look at here, agriculture. Look at here, Trombe crop varieties, groundnut, 15 types of groundnut varieties, urad bin, urad dal, 4 varieties, mustard, 3 varieties, sunflower, 1 variety, cowpea, 1 variety, mung bean, 8, rice, 1, jute, 1, soybean, 2, pigeon pea, 4. So around 40 crop varieties have been developed and released so far for commercial cultivation in different agroclimatic zones in the country. This is where UPSC will ask question. Right? And I'm 100% sure current affairs material may not be covering all this. Just go and see the current affairs materials. Do they cover all this part? You'll not find. Right? But now, you know, all those who watch my videos, I've been teaching for a long time. So all my content are getting chori. Right? The others are now using that and part of it, right? Right from beginning, I've been this method of teaching in the classroom and telling you all this part. But now others are now taking that. So don't worry. Now knowledge is always for sharing, right? More you share, more the knowledge. And knowledgeable person always, gain knowledge, right? So that's the thing. So please visit the bark site. Now see here another one. I'll take you to this one, food. You can look at the food part. It will just open up the food part. This is here. Frequently asked question, FAQ on irradiated food. Are irradiated food safe? Yes. It's given here, yes. Irradiated foods are safe. Irradiation makes food products safer by reducing the harmful bacteria and parasites. This is from the bark site. I'm not saying. It is said by the scientific organization which is saying that the food is safe. Right? And look at here. See here. Onion, potato, all those ones, mango, everything. Right? What you can see in the photograph. All right. Now let me come to the medicine part. The second is healthcare. Nuclear medicine. So second topic is the nuclear medicine in the field of medicine and healthcare. Now let's look into first one. Radioisotopes for diagnosis. For diagnosis, diagnostic and therapeutic purpose. And therapeutic use. Therapeutic means treatment. To treat cancer, treat tumors and cancers. Diagnosis means finding out the cause of disease. Thyroid problem or heart problem or any kind of brain tumor or any kind of diagnosis. Now here what scientists do, they use certain type of instruments. One of the instruments is called PET, P-E-T, PET. PET stands for positron emission tomography. It stands for positron emission tomography. Just like have a CT scan, right? You have seen in the hospital, the person is laid on a platform and scanner will scan the body, CT scan, body scan, same like MRI scan. PET is a machine there. Positron emission tomography, right? And there's another called SPECT, SPECT. What does SPECT stands for? SPECT stands for single photon. Single photon, right? Emission computed tomography. A doctor can find out the location of tumor, right? Growing tumor or cancer in the body. Even the doctor can also do the imaging of stage of the cancer. Benign, malignant, can understand through such kind of instruments. And we have developed such an indigenous one, right? To detect, to diagnose tumors or cancers. Now let me give you another very important one. Teletherapy, or what we call radiation therapy, cobalt-60 for treatment of cancer. So here, third one is called here radiation therapy or teletherapy. Therapy machine, I am now giving the name of the machine, is named Bhabhatron, is named after Dr. Homi Jahangir Bhabha, Bhabhatron. And we are using not only in India, there is in Mumbai one cancer hospital, Tata Memorial Cancer Hospital in Mumbai. That is a very big cancer hospital. But also we have gifted Bhabhatron to Mongolia, Kazakhstan, Kenya. There also Bhabhatron is being used for cancer treatment. And it uses Bhabhatron second, right? It releases the radiation, dose of radiation to the tumor and the cancer using cobalt-60 radioisotope. So teletherapy or radiation therapy machine named Bhabhatron second, right? Using cobalt-60 isotope. Let me show you the Bhabhatron. Now look at here. Here, I'm again going to the part of the Barg Center. Now you can see here. Now look at here. This is what the machine does. I can find out the position there. You can see the image, photograph, right? And then you can see here the treatment and all in the cancer hospital. Now again you can see here scanning and all. Can you see the image, photograph? Right? This is teletherapy machine. And the Bhabhatron you can find here. Nuclear medicine technique and all. Now see here. These are images here. Parkinson. What happens in Parkinson? The motor neuron become defective. The person has a problem in terms of walking, locomotion and walking. Right? This is all the normal brain, Parkinson one. Pre and the post. Brain scan can be done. Right? So you see here the spot given. And Bhabhatron you will find here. If you just go to the part of here, radiation sterilization. Sterilization is done. RIA, radio immunoassay. Right? But now let's look at here. Bhabhatron. It will open up, right? See, whatever I'm teaching in the classroom, you want a detailed reading for that, you can go to Oak Bridge Prelim series. It's not a bulky book, it's a very light book. Right? You don't have time to read, big books like TMH and all those bulky book or Spectrum or something. You don't have time. Oak Bridge publication has got Prelim series. It's a very light book. It's a publication house, very light book, is very small, number of pages are also less. And whatever I've explained with the reactor, technology, research reactor, whatever now I'm discussing is all given there. You can refer that textbook, right? Now see here, indigenous cobalt-60 teletherapy technology, 4 years of experience, cancer incidence and all this given. This is the machine. Can you see now? This is the Bhavatron machine. Is it visible to you? Right. See here, this machine. So it can be used for that, right? And when it can be used in small area also, there, like villages and all can be used this particular one. Small hospital also can use Bhavatron, right? And so far in UPSC exam question has not been asked. So medical application I have given. You all have written this one? You all have copied this one? You all are copying this one, please write it down. Shall I copy it or shall I remove it? Yes or no? We'll come to the industrial application. We'll come to the industrial application there. Okay, now let's come to industrial application. If you see the industrial application of nuclear technology, then different ways which can be used for industrial application, and I'll provide you with examples here. The third one is the industries. One is here, what is something called radiography. We can use radiation to do the scanning of metals, right? Here, we can use such kind of, like for example, there's one type of camera called Rolly camera. Is used for radiography. Of metallic structure, of metals or alloys of metallic structures, right, which can find out the defect. If there are any kind of defect or crack on the metals, right, even in the pipeline also there, let's say oil and gas pipelines, right, to detect any kind of crack or any kind of a defect is there. Right, radiography. What is the thing here? Radiography. Rolly camera is used for radiography of metals, oblique, metallic structures, oblique pipelines, oil and gas pipeline. And then we can find out any crack or defect or something. Then you know that high beam of electrons. For industrial application there, particularly where we need to understand the part of any process flow measurement, like third one is the flow measurement. We can use such kind of scanner there. Transport and flow measurement and all, we can use that one, right? Lasers are used there. Again, laser-based radiation part, correct? Then coming to environment use there. Now, if it's, all have written this one, medical use. Now, if you look at the environmental aspect, I'll take you to the bark site here, right? The bark site, if you look at here, let's go back to the bark site here. Let's look at the part of water. Desalination, pure water purification. Scientists from the Bhabha Atomic Research Center, BARC, they involved in the field of research in nuclear sciences, societal commitment, and they have developed such kind of a device which can purify water and can remove such kind of toxic chemicals and metals, heavy metals, like arsenic, cadmium, chromium. Now they have developed there. As you can see here. Desalination, in terms of getting potable drinking water in the rural areas, they have developed the technology for that. Right? And now see, uranium content in groundwater of some of the wells in Punjab was reported above permissible level of 60 parts per billion. It has remained in the news also, Punjab. Punjab groundwater contaminated with uranium. So here it said the uranium content in groundwater of some of the wells in Punjab was reported above permissible limit of 60 parts per billion. Accordingly, field studies were carried out in 6 districts for the removal of uranium from groundwater. So scientists developed a technology, the method to filter or remove uranium from the groundwater. Very clearly given, the uranium content product water was brought down to 6 ppb using BARC developed UFRO technology, reverse osmosis technology, giving clean water as per international standard or WHO limit. Right? And you can see here, this is a system which has been developed. Right? So water, environment, all this development, you will find that. Right? So I'll give you certain example here, what you can see in the diagram here, but again I'm coming to here. Environment aspect, I'll mention here one very important technology what BARC scientists have developed called Nisarg Runa. Nisarg Runa. First Nisarg Runa plant was set up in Vadodara in Gujarat. So fourth, if you look at here, fourth is the environment. First example is Nisarg Runa. Now what is Nisarg Runa technology? Today the growing problem of the solid waste management in urban areas, municipal solid waste, which can be biodegradable and non-biodegradable. Those which are biodegradable organic, let's say paper or let's say food or vegetables, which can be converted into methane, like biomethane generation. Right, just like a gobar gas plant and all. And then methane can be used for cooking purpose or any other application part. If such kind of plant has been developed, what is Nisarg Runa? What is Nisarg Runa? It is basically a biomethanation plant. It's a biomethanation plant to treat biodegradable. Right here, it has to be biodegradable, not a non-biodegradable. Biodegradable organic wastes in municipal or urban waste. Is a eco-friendly technology. It's a ecological friendly, environment friendly technology. Is a eco-friendly technology. And also affordable, one can use it. A small RWA, Resident Welfare Association, or small societies and building, they can afford to use Nisarg Runa. First one was used in Gujarat, Vadodara, I have said that. And the organic sludge, which is obtained here. Organic sludge, like as a water treatment plant, they have a sludge. So same way, organic sludge obtained can be used as green manure. Obtained can be used as manure by farmers. Achha, the marker is light one, so you are not able to see there. I'll read out the sentence. Nisarg Runa. First, I've written biomethanation plant to treat biodegradable organic wastes in municipal or solid urban waste. Eco-friendly technology, organic sludge obtained can be used as manure. It can be used as a manure here. Right? Now coming to here, second is that monitoring of radiation. We have to monitor the background radiation. And particularly we have to see around nuclear reactors, background radiations. It should not exceed the safety limit. Right? To monitoring of background radiation, we have to use such kind of sample of air, water, soil, and we have to keep on monitoring there. It should not exceed the permissible limit. Again, AERB, Atomic Energy Regulatory Board, is involved in the process there. Right? Then I said here, removal of this one technology there. Purification of water. Purification of water from wells or something, water from contamination of from contaminant such as, let's say, uranium from the groundwater or the wells and something of that. Purification of water from contaminants such as uranium. Punjab, they have done that. You'll find that in this Oak Bridge book, prelim series, or you can visit the bark site. You can visit the bark site and you can see there one, right? Clear there? Any doubt you have, any question you have. And you can see here, this all, even nuclear desalination plant has been developed. And if you talk about weaponization program, if you see here fifth one, in terms of defense or military program, the nuclear technology used, like you know that, nuclear weapon, nuclear missiles, missile which can carry the nuclear weapons like Agni, for example, Agni is a ballistic missile, or you can say Prithvi, or you can say BrahMos is the cruise missile. They all are capable of carrying the conventional weapons. At the same time, they can also carry the nuclear warheads, right? Then comes here nuclear powered submarine like Arihant. We can propel a submarine by using nuclear reactors. For example, INS Arihant. Is a very important defense development from DRDO. That Arihant, right, INS Arihant, this is a reactor, the reactor which propelled the submarine, this is a nuclear powered submarine. That reactor has been developed by BARC, 85 megawatt reactor, is a pressurized water reactor. It uses the, let me write here, it uses the 85 megawatt pressurized water reactor which has been developed by Bhabha Atomic Research Center. Prithvi, Agni, Nag, or let's say Akash. Akash is surface to air missile, or let's say BrahMos is a cruise missile. We will learn all this in defense topic. Next topic is our defense only. We will be learning that. They can carry conventional weapons at the same time nuclear weapons. So there the military application of nuclear technology comes into that. And India has both one dual use, peaceful use also at the same time the military application, right? So that is where you can think of that. Nuclear technology is not only electricity and power generation, only the reactors. No. Nuclear technology finds several applications. You know that, this archaeology, C14, carbon 14, carbon dating, sample of fossil sample, dinosaur or any kind of old fossil sample, right, of any kind of human civilization. We can find out the age of the sample of tree or plant or animal or any such kind of fossil based on C14, carbon 14 dating technology or technique. That finds relevance in archaeological aspect, right? Sampling and all this spectrum analysis, radiation and all this hydrogen spectrum, helium spectrum, astronomical studies, again we can use nuclear technology. Gamma burst in galaxies, deep universe, cosmic background radiation, astronomical application. We have observatory, we have telescopes which study on that one. So again the nuclear technology comes there. We have already discussed in the classroom that AstroSat, India's first astronomical satellite developed by ISRO, which carried instrument from TIFR, Tata Institute of Fundamental Research, right? So many applications are there. It's not one application, but there are hundreds of applications are there. All right, so I have given you the entire aspect of that. So now my homework question is that, discuss applications of nuclear science and technology, applications of nuclear science and technology for societal benefits. What is the question here? The question what I'm giving here is that discuss applications of nuclear science and technology for societal benefits, right? This is the first part of the question. Second part of the question, highlight negative impacts of such technologies. Highlight negative impact of such technologies. You have to answer in 150 to 200 words. Let me read out the question. The question for your class is that discuss applications of nuclear science and technology for societal benefits. Highlight negative impacts of such technologies. You have to answer in 150 to 200 words, 10 marks question. The name of the book which I mentioned that is a Oak Bridge. Oak Bridge Publishing. You have there the book called Prelim Series. It is a very light book, it is not a very bulky book. It contains all those required for UPSC prelims exam. I'll show you that part. This is the book here. It will come to your screen there. I'm just doing the Google search. This one. Part 6 GS Prelims, Science and Technology, Oak Bridge. It covers all the theory part. I think hardly it will be 150 to 200 pages, not more than that. So what is coming here? It is available on Amazon also there. Amazon, Flipkart, there is available. Now this is the book. Right? This is the book there. General science, it covers general science, biology, chemistry and physics along with the technology part. Right? You have MCQ for practice also. You have a multiple choice questions for practice, solved previous year question paper. At the same time, it also covers the concept from the basic science. What you had in your classes of biology and physics and chemistry, that is also covered. Plus whatever I am covering, nuclear science and technology, space, defense, nanotechnology, robotics, all are covered in the book. Right? You can order online also. There is a Flipkart and all is available there, Amazon and all this. Right? So that's what I mentioned that. Anyway, you can go through this, whatever there. So we'll stop the class here and we will continue with the next topic in the class. That will be the defense. Our next topic will be defense technology. Right? We'll be going to discuss the defense technology in the next class. I hope you all are comfortable. You are able to understand whatever I'm covering in the classroom, and it's a very small topic, so it doesn't require too much of the depth understanding. Defense is again a very factual one, but I'll give you a handout on that. On defense topic, you'll have a handout. And all the facts will be in the handout. Missile range and all this thing will be in the handout there. All right. So I thank you everyone. We'll meet in the next class. The next class topic will be defense technology. And for that, I'll give you the handout also there. All right. Thank you. Keep yourself safe. Thank you.